Welcome to the Creemore Winos. Real conversations over a glass of wine.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to the Creemore Winos Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Ridding.
And I'm Tammy Millsap.
I'm just a guest.
Oh, this
Andrew.
is yes.
Andrew Moniz.
Andrew.
Not just a guest,
Not
but
a
our
host
special
yet.
guest. Yeah.
And Jennifer Hunt.
Yeah. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So we should introduce Andrew and
In all
You know,
his glory.
So
in his
we
glory.
have talked about Andrew on the podcast before. So Andrew is the owner of One Tiger North Pilates in Creemore. So we have mentioned that a few times actually because you save our lives on a regular basis, our mental health. All thank you to Andrew. But
You're welcome.
would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, I've been living in Creemore for just over a year now. Last October was the 1 year. I've known you girls forever though. And I've been teaching Pilates up here for almost like 8 months now. Yeah. And I teach you all Pilates.
Yes.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
goodness for that.
And my
fans.
partner Ryan went to school with you guys.
That's
Yes.
nice.
Right? Boom.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're all related. Right?
He grew up just down the road actually from where my grandma was. So he used to walk to school with us every day. So
So definitely
it's
related.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice that everyone's back in Creemore.
We're all back. Yeah, we all. Well, I'm here, not back, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
originally from
I'm
here.
not from here. I grew up
but,
in Toronto. Yeah.
But it's nice to have Ryan here, and the fact that we have the added bonus of you being here now is very nice.
Yes.
It is nice.
It's
It has
so
made a big
nice.
difference.
Yeah, it's
Do
been
you like being in Creemore? What has it been like? Do you miss Toronto living?
Well, so I grew up in Toronto, and then we bought a place up in Collingwood, like a year and a half before the pandemic. And so for all the pandemic, we were at our condo in Collingwood, and then last year we made the move to Creemore. It's been good. It's a slower pace for sure. But what's been nice about it is the network of friends and family here. That's made a huge difference. I didn't have that as much in Collingwood as I do here, even though it's only a 30-minute drive. But it's been so nice and getting to know everybody even more, and you guys coming to practice every week and do Pilates and seeing you guys around more. It's been really nice. And I didn't really get to hang out with you too much, Tammy.
No, you're right. Actually,
Yeah.
it was just ever since you kind of, we're here and I started going to see you in Pilates, and now I'm there all the time.
Yeah, I always saw Jen a lot because she was in the city.
Well, yeah.
And you were the first friend I met.
Yeah,
through
second,
Ryan.
yes. We went
Becky was
skating.
the first.
Becky was the first,
yeah,
and then
you.
second,
Yeah.
we had an ice skating date.
We did.
That's
Wait,
when
just the two of you?
well,
Well,
Ryan was there.
But I feel like whenever like the three of us together, it's more about me and Jen than it ever is about Ryan and the three of us.
Yeah.
We always say if anything were to ever happen in a relationship, me and
be
Ryan,
together.
me and Jen would be together, and
Right.
we would have custody of each other, and sadly Ryan would lose out.
Right.
It's true.
In more
That's
ways
right.
than one, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, Andrew and I met, and then we became instant friends.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
And
how
then-
can you not?
Yeah.
You're very,
Yeah.
very easy to be friends
Oh,
with.
thank you.
It's true.
He is.
I know.
He makes
I know.
my day every time
Yeah.
I come see
I
him.
know. Yeah, you get a workout and a
Yes.
good time.
A good time.
Everybody always laughs.
You get some tea from the neighborhood. Yeah.
I mean, I love it.
What's happening across the street or down? Well, who knows? Always something happening on Mary Street.
Good thing I almost just spit out my butt.
I noticed that, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. No,
But in all seriousness, though, the Pilates is amazing.
Yeah.
So for anybody who hasn't been,
Yes, if
highly
you're
recommend.
looking,
yes.
It's a full body workout.
Yeah.
It makes you feel amazing.
we
Yeah.
got two reformers.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And I think everyone who has tried has like realized how good of a workout it is
It's so
and has
good for-
become
yeah.
very addicted.
Yes.
No, it's,
myself included.
Yeah. Same.
I found Pilates after my health issues, and then that's what kind of brought my body back, and like
Yeah.
I think it's so good for the core. It's good for mobility. It's good for all that stuff. But we're not here to talk about Pilates.
No.
Yeah.
We are here to talk about a book that we have all read and we're very excited to dive into.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let Jen give us her thoughts until we were live on the podcast. So Let Them, a very popular book by Mel Robbins. And we've listened to quite a few of her podcast episodes as well. And obviously this book and the theory has really blown up on social media and gotten really rave reviews. And the little bit that I had heard about online, it sounded like something that could be really beneficial. And Tammy got us all copies of the book so that we could read it and talk about it today.
Thank you for doing that.
I know. Thank you. That was very kind.
I just want to be clear about my own book.
Oh, yes.
I wasn't included
I'm so
in
sorry.
this. I found out about this again through Pilates. So anyway, I'm here now. We made it.
We made it.
I'm a wino.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Andrew.
Okay.
We
yeah.
talked about it, and he's like, "I'll read it," and
Yeah.
come on,
I think I actually ordered it first.
Yeah, actually, and you
Right.
were pretty ahead,
Yeah.
and then you kind of held up for us to get caught up.
It's true.
Well,
But I have to say too, Jen and I are not readers of books. We listen, readers of books.
Very true.
Not that we would rather listen to it,
Yes,
like an
or
audio
podcast or
book.
something.
And we love podcasts, of course. But I thought, you know what, this was something that I felt that we could really dive into and read, and it was a bit of a challenge for us.
Did everybody read the book?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we
Yes.
did, and I was very proud of us for reading the book and
Yeah.
not doing the
That is
audiobook.
right.
We read it
Snaps
page
for
for
Tammy
page.
and Jen, yeah.
Yeah. I
Because
appreciate-
Jess, you are a reader.
Yes.
and you are-
Although
I'm a reader,
it's
yeah.
only because we couldn't convince them to read the fairy
The fairy
Yes.
books.
So.
And
I don't
the
know if we're
dragon
gonna.
books.
We
I don't
still
know if we're
can't
gonna-
get
I don't.
into
I
that.
think Tammy
No.
and I might not
Right.
Yeah.
get into that.
Yeah, there's
Maybe
a lot of
so
explicit scenes in
Yeah.
the
But I did find that I
Too
could
much.
really dive into this, and I got right into it and read every page. And did you find that too when you were?
I found it
Reading?
to be very easy to digest and understand the concepts. The way
Yes.
that she laid it out was extremely clear and very relatable. And that is, I think, why I was able to, it is such a page turner, and why I was able to enjoy the book myself.
Yes,
I don't know if I would feel the same way about the fairies, but
I know.
this I
Yes.
do.
Fairies and dragons. I'm sorry.
That's going to have to be
yeah.
an after-hours
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, that'll. Andrew and I will start our own podcast.
Yeah.
just dedicated to the romantasy series
Yeah.
that we are obsessed with.
Was it
Yeah,
called
so-
Smut?
Smut.
Yeah, okay.
The fairy smut. Yeah. So, what were your 3 biggest takeaways then from the book?
The 3 biggest takeaways.
We'll
And I'll make this.
We'll
I'll
start
make
with
this
Jen,
quick.
but I want to hear from everybody.
100%. I'll make this quick. I think overall, I'm very grateful that I discovered therapy very early on in my life. And I think therapy, in a lot of ways, has a lot of these principles that you do learn through therapy. But what I loved about Let Them, again, as I mentioned, was how clear and how I can now almost define what I'm thinking and feeling better. And I think that was a big aha moment for me because I've got the general idea of what I'm trying to articulate and what I'm understanding to be true in terms of what I'm feeling, or understanding that it's not proper to make people feel guilty. That's not, if you have to do what's best for you. And you can, I feel like that's a hard no, and also know that there's different perspectives in the world. You don't know what someone else is going through. It's all relative. That's another big point around everything is relative to what you know today. And again, being aware that there's far more greater outside of the world that you're living in. And if you don't get a text back, which is going back to let them, it's not that they don't love you. It's because there's other things going on that they're busy and they can't get back to you. And that's okay. And so I think what the biggest aha moment for me was that I can now fully define in a very clear way. And I going back to the second thing is the scatter theory. I think that was really interesting because, again, going back to therapy and growing as an adult, the concept I understood. I understood that you grow and you evolve and that your interests change, your priorities change. But now defining and understanding now how it's in those 3 buckets makes a lot of sense now. And I think about Tammy and I in terms of timing. we always had the energy. We always had the proximity, but we didn't have the timing. And the timing came later in our life. And that was really
very true.
Right?
Yeah.
And we talked about that in our first episode.
Yeah.
And how we know each other. And so it was like bang on. Like that's exactly the way it was for us. And
That's
so
exactly,
that related to me because now I can define what that means. I can now define what was missing for Tammy and I in our friendship because we always had the proximity and the energy.
Yes.
Right.
And so that was really cool. The final thing I will say that was an aha moment for me, and I'm just gonna loop it into one, is just the unlock power of influence. Those who know me, I have a phenomenal husband. I'm in love with him, and it's been amazing. But we had struggles, and those who are close in my life are very familiar with that. I'm not going to get into details in this podcast. And so what I will say is I think that was a really aha moment for me. More around, again, therapy helped me through this, but this is a tool that I had never heard before of the ABC loop. And I wrote it on a Post-it, and it's going to be forever in my heart. And I'm going to be better at that with my relationship. So those
Why
are the
don't
biggest
you
ones.
explain what that is, just like high level from the book, just in case people watching or listening haven't read the book, what that principle really stands for.
100%. So unlock the power of your influence. You, as an adult, you cannot change human beings. It goes back to the way a human brain is psychologically wired, unless the human wants to change for themselves. Thank you so much, Andrew. And so, so with the unlocking the power of the influence is you can influence change, but how you do it in a positive way is extremely critical. And so by knowing that you can't change anyone and you need to let them be who they are, but how you can influence change and how you influence change is through the ABC loop. And it gives you a really good structured framework on number, for example, is
This is the ABC. This is the wrong page.
Yeah,
I
okay,
did
no
not set you up
worries.
for success.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to fumble
got
it casually over here.
I've got it. I've
You
got it
tried.
here. It's-
That's what's important.
A is
I know.
apologize, ask open-ended questions.
Yes.
B is back off and absorb their behavior. And C is celebrate progress when you continue to model the change. So it's not about like you're doing this, and it's more about asking open-ended questions. Or have you ever thought about your health?
Yes.
Have you ever thought about what the impact is to our family? Have you ever thought about what this can do to you long term? That is the A part. And then the B is back off, which I can do a lot better at. I take accountability in a big way as to why there could be some challenges in our relationship because of that. And so again, this is not new, but it's a tool that I never heard of before. That is a great tool that I will use, and I'm going to put it on a Post-it note, and I'm going to keep myself accountable to that. And then C is celebrate. Celebrate the progress. It all goes back to reinforcing positive behavior, and that you do for your kids, you do it for your relationship, you do it for for yourself. And so that was a big aha moment for me. So those were my biggest takeaways.
Well, it's like you're allowing the person to make the connection themselves, so that they educate themselves to make the change, right?
Correct.
You're
That's
almost
exactly
just giving them space to breathe and not hounding them.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And yeah. And so I think this has given me a lot of, it's enlightened me. It's reiterated a lot of the things that I already knew, but again, made it very clear that it's defined. And the last thing I will say is I don't know if it's luck that we are around very strong, emotionally intelligent friends and the people that we have surrounded ourselves around. I don't know if that's luck or if this is normal. I honestly don't know, because I'm, again, relative to the fact that I have been friends with all of you my entire life. I hope that the general population will take away some of these things, because I do interact with people on a day-to-day basis that don't live these principles.
Yes.
And I hope that this will make the world a better place, and that it is a life-changing tool that millions can learn from,
100%.
because I truly believe that this is the way, this is how the world should operate. Because again, that's for me personally, as a Jennifer Hunt, whether that's how, whatever, but that's how I feel.
Well, because I feel like everything that you mentioned, you can take, in any, like in business, with coworkers, with employees, with children. I mean, all the different fundamentals in here you can use all through your life. So I totally agree that everybody
I think that
should
was well said, Jen.
read this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that when I first started reading it, everything that she mentioned were things that I intuitively already knew. And I wonder about that, because I wish I had this book 10 years ago, because I feel like I would have maybe learned something that I didn't know before, but it was still very helpful reminders and positioning it in a way that was simple and easy to keep top of mind in your day-to-day life and your day-to-day interactions. But I felt like I resonated with so many different experiences that Mel went through, whether that was like the scattering of your friends or developing new friends, having, difficult personalities, or kind of overthinking things at work. It was like, yes, I've had that and I've experienced that, and I feel like I have learned from it, but it still was really helpful to kind of position it in a way. And I think for me, the biggest takeaway was sometimes your reactions really come down to wanting to control a situation.
Yes.
And for me, it makes so much sense. And I know this, but it's such a helpful reminder that you are internalizing things in a way because you want to control the situation. And that is related to fear as well. So it was very helpful to see the bigger picture and kind of what it means for yourself to be able to let people be who they are.
Yes.
Yeah, and I struggled with, I second what both of you ladies have said. There was a lot of intuitive stuff in here, and just being in the yoga world and the fitness world for so long, I've done a lot of like workshops, I've been to a lot of yoga retreats, I've been through a lot of spiritual people, so a lot of this stuff was I think already in there, but it's good. It was a good refresh. The stuff that really resonated with me was when it came to other relationships with other people, in the sense of like friendships. And I'm the type of person that really wants everybody to like me. And I take it personally if they don't. I overanalyze. And even with like clients, so before I opened up the studio here, which is just out of my house, but I had a big studio in the city, and I wouldn't take things as personally because there was more volume of people coming in through the doors. But here, if I don't see somebody in a couple of weeks, I think, oh my God, they hate me. What's going on? Did I hurt their back? Like, what's happening? I didn't, by the way. I didn't hurt anybody's back. But,
For the
and
record,
it's just, you have to spin it around and realize the world's not about you, Andrew, even though you think it is. Like other people have lives and they got their own stuff going on, right? And it has nothing to do with you, right?
Yes.
And I think I've talked about that even in sessions with you guys, also like dump on you, like, oh my God, this person,
Yeah.
Such a good point.
Yeah, so it's just taking things from almost flipping it to the other person's perspective, and just taking a step back and letting them and letting me, as she said.
Yes.
And having empathy, because you're like both of you mentioned it, but like you don't know what someone else is going through, and sometimes it really isn't you. It's whatever's going on in their lives.
Exactly. Yeah. Not taking.
I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
And also, like, you're right. Like, changing your lifestyle does put you in a totally different frame of mind.
Yeah.
Like, having that massive change from a big studio, a little bit more anonymous, living in the city, going about your day, then totally transplanting yourself to a small community. Like, it does make you think of things in a different way that maybe you're not used to.
Yeah, like Creemore can be a little bit of a fishbowl in a sense, right?
Yeah.
It's such a small town. And Ryan grew up, my partner, he grew up in a small town. He'd always tell me, don't talk to anybody. Just like keep to yourself. Don't look at the neighbors. Keep to yourself. Trust me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I want to be friends with everybody. And then, now I get it.
Now you are friends with everybody.
Now I'm friends with everybody, But it's that whole thing, right? So you just take, especially if you're like, you know, I work from home. I
Yeah.
live from home.
Yes.
I'm in home. So it's like, I don't have kids. I have dogs.
Yeah.
So when you're like always in the same space, you can go a little bit
Yeah.
crazy,
Well,
especially in a small
yes.
town.
It's true.
right?
And a lot of people
You
said
start
that
to
during
think.
COVID too, right? Like
Yes.
people were feeling so isolated, even though they
Absolutely.
were on Zoom, they were on calls, like being in the same place and not having that in-person interaction can definitely have an effect on your mental health.
Just, I've never left COVID.
Yeah.
I've been living in COVID for 5 years. I'm going to die in COVID.
We'll just keep coming over.
Yeah, just keep coming.
But I never thought of that because you moved here.
Yeah.
You opened a new business here, even though you had done what you had done in the city for what 15 years.
Yeah.
And then all
It's
of
like,
a sudden
whoa.
you've got to build up
Yeah.
this new thing in this town,
And make it
small
his own.
town,
Yeah.
and make
his
it
own.
make it your own.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I can empathize with that.
Yes.
100%.
And Ryan is only up here half the week.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I'm basically dating you girls.
Right.
Yeah.
Which we love.
We
Andrew.
love
Yeah,
to date.
yeah, I'm like the sister wives.
No.
Yeah.
Andrew, like that's
love it.
But that's
Yeah.
the way it's been. since
Yeah,
then.
no,
Yeah,
for sure,
so-
for sure.
so let's
No,
just
for
amplify
sure.
that.
I'm just saying, just circling back,
Yes,
it's just like,
yes.
it can make you go crazy
Yes.
Right.
and overanalyze
Yes.
other relationships outside of your own, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's like, oh, this person didn't call me back. They must not like me. What did I do?
Yeah.
And then you just have to realize it's just
No.
because they could be busy.
It's like, Andrew,
they
people have
could be-
jobs.
right?
They work 9 to 5.
Yeah, like you just
They're not just walking around with their dogs. Teaching Pilates.
Which is also
To the
very
winos.
important
Yeah.
and extremely needed.
No,
in all of
absolutely. I
us.
just-
like, yeah.
It's
but
just,
I get
it's a
you.
different life for
Yeah,
me now.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's just
get that.
switched gears. Yeah.
Totally. You go from running a business for 15 years that's constantly going and
Yeah.
people flowing in and out. It's definitely a slower pace.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so you're acclimatizing to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're not
Yeah.
the only one that has done that. I feel like there's so
Yeah.
many
So many
men
people
and
from the
women that
city
have
moved
done
here.
that.
Yeah.
Or even, maybe women that used to work outside of the home, but now they're stay-at-home moms and they're having to adjust and deal with all of that
Yeah,
as
you-
well. So, and it might be the same thing. They might be like, oh my goodness, I'm reaching out to this friend or this friend. They're not getting back to me. Like, I'm sure everybody has that feeling of,
Yeah, you guys talked about
Right?
it in your last podcast with Krista was here about you guys were talking about motherhood, and then I don't know which one of you brought it up, but you guys brought up stay-at-home moms and like
Yes.
how crazy that is.
It could be so isolating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
isolating.
Right?
Yeah, so I'm basically a stay-at-home mom.
so but it's so many people have gone through that. They've
Yeah.
changed things or moved somewhere.
Yeah, no.
So
it's
we
good.
totally-
Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, we're your support group. We're
Yeah,
here for you.
absolutely. No, I'm good. I'm not saying. We're just
It's an
talking about that.
awareness.
I was reading this
Yeah.
at home, alone, with the dog, stay-at-home mom, and I was like, great. This is me.
It's all of us, though. That's
Yeah, I
why
know.
it's so
We're
popular.
aware. This is awareness.
It's so relatable because it's real life experiences
Yes.
and human emotion.
It can relate to
and
everybody.
that's why I think
And-
it's as popular as it
human
is.
emotion.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys found this when you were reading. When I was reading it, I was every single example she gave, I picked out somebody in my life who was that person.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you
Yes,
have that? I'm like, oh, this is Jen with
Yeah.
the friends stuff.
Yeah.
Being like left out sometimes.
Oh yeah, sometimes yeah.
The FOMO?
It's-
Yeah.
Sometimes
Did
I
you relate to that?
I did relate to that
Yeah.
at certain points, but I'm way more in the past than I do
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. But again, this goes back to being a people pleaser and just wanting yeah.
And to your
And you're
point,
very
like the fact that
social.
you've
Yeah, you're
already
social,
been
very
doing
social
therapy,
person, yeah.
you're aware and have been
Super
working
aware.
on some of
Yes.
those.
And working on
Yeah.
boundaries, which
Yeah.
talks about how being a friend for you versus doing it for your friend
Yes.
of them
Yes.
perceiving that you're being a good friend.
Yes.
Yes.
It's about
Yes.
you. It's
I
about
thought that was such a good
Yeah.
point.
Such a
that,
good
like,
point.
Yeah. Maybe the girl who didn't stay for the whole weekend
Correct.
for a bachelorette party.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
they were upset. And anyway, I thought that was a very good example because it's like you
Yeah.
got to do what
Yeah.
is going to make you feel
Yeah.
good and make you
That's
feel
right.
fulfilled versus
Exactly.
doing, because you can burn out doing that. And I know
Yeah.
you try so hard to be a good
You
friend
do,
to
Jen.
so many
Yeah.
people. And
Really?
sometimes I think, how is she
That's
doing
what I
it
said.
all? Yeah.
I know.
I was like, this is Jen.
Yeah, I do try, but I've also really have been trying to
Pull
make
back.
sure that I'm making the right decisions for me
Yes.
Good.
and
That's
balancing that and what and prioritizing the people in my life, because again it comes down to boundaries and also comes down to I don't have a finite amount of time.
Yeah.
None of us do.
No.
And so that's where it comes to the fact that we need to balance it better, and I have really been learning that, and I feel like I've been doing a pretty good
You have
job
been.
You
actually.
have, yeah.
And I just recently I was talking to a friend last night and I said, I might not actually be able to do that. They called, they're like, hey, do you want to extend our weekend next weekend to stay another night? And I'm like, I don't know if I can.
Good.
And I love them.
Yeah.
I love them. They're like my bestest friends, Kristen Garb. And I'm like, I honestly, I don't think I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, making the right decision.
for you, Jen. Good for
But
you.
that was hard. I'm still struggling with the decision.
She's feeling the FOMO.
I'm like, do I call and be like, I'm kidding, I'm coming.
I'm coming.
Let you extend your trip. Let me also extend my trip.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
it's just it'll always be there. And again,
Yes.
it's about practicing
Yeah.
theory too.
That
I'm
is a
very
good
proud of
point.
you, Jen.
I
Because
know,
that
that
is
is good.
very, I know, that's very
You want to
difficult for you.
dangle a
Yeah.
carrot in front of me with my best friends? I'll be like,
I know.
I have to say that's difficult for me too. So I totally know where you're coming from. Like, I'm like, I don't know.
oh god.
Because you do, you feel like, well, and I've talked about friendships here, my friendship journey along the way. I'm a lot older. Well, not a lot
You're
older.
not.
I'm
We
3
were
years.
teasing
Say the
you.
grandma,
I'm 3
you
or
said
4 years
grandma,
older.
one of her palm, like,
3
get
or
out
4
of
years
here.
older. But I've definitely been on a friendship journey, and I have to say, reading this, it made me feel better, and it made me feel really good about, okay, you know what, that was okay what happened along the way. You can't always, be with the same friends from public school, high school, college. Like, you can't. It's just, you can, but if you're not, that's okay.
Yes.
Because
100%.
there are all of these different things that change in your life.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And like you said about the timing for us, that's totally what it is. It was the timing, even though we were in the same area, the same space, it was just the right time for us all to be together and be friends.
And it's so funny. Sorry to interrupt. It's so
No,
funny.
no, that's okay.
Jen used to live down the street from me, and so did you, Jess. Remember in
So we
in
have-
Toronto?
In Toronto.
Yeah.
Right, so
And I probably never saw you.
No.
well, we joke
For
all the
years.
time. We're both at the
Yeah.
same restaurant
Like,
all the
literally
time.
the same
Hope
street.
Street.
Yeah.
And I was like, where are
And yet
you?
you didn't know each
No.
other until
No.
Ryan? No.
Is that wild?
So funny.
See
Yeah.
there, that
Yeah.
just
Proximity,
that
we
just
had
tells
it. Timing,
you.
we didn't have it. Energy, we didn't even know we were gonna have it.
But we would have.
But
Yeah.
So
So it was. It was just
yeah.
timing
it's-
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
The
world,
right
it's
time to
gonna
be
happen.
together.
Yeah.
And I loved how she said, like, get ready to find the greatest friends in the world.
Yes.
Like, right? And I feel
Yeah.
like sometimes you just have to get to that point in your life and it all works out. It all falls into place. You just have to let it happen.
Yeah, that's so true. And for background, for anybody who hasn't read the book, Mel Robbins talks about the 3 pillars of friendship.
Yes.
And that's why friendships can change over the years, because it's all about proximity. So like living close by, living in the same place. It's about energy, so matching the same vibe, and then timing, so being at the same place at the same time. And even like I'm going on a girls trip next weekend, and these are all girls that I was very close with. We had all the pillars in university. We've now all gone in different directions. None of of us live in the same city. And, you know, it's sad in a way because we love each other so much, but you accept that is a part of life. We make an effort to go on a trip once a year together, meet somewhere in the middle for all of us. And we have the most amazing time. And it's like no time at all has passed.
That's so great.
Yeah.
And it's so nice that you still do that. And I know you still do that as well.
With my Toronto girlfriends.
And I think that's great. And I think it's just when you do see each other, when you are together, there's, you know, no bad feelings.
No.
You're
And
just
no
there.
expectations.
You catch up. You
It's
talk.
easy.
Because that's life. And we grow up. We, you know, mature.
Yes.
All these things happen. We have families. And I mean, you have to you move away. Like you just have to.
You just have to accept people where they are. Yeah.
And just go with the flow and like let it happen.
Totally. And I think this also ties back to the let them theory that Mel talks about is the one-sided friendship where if you do have friends that are in a further proximity away, that if you're feeling like you're putting all the effort out, is it reciprocated? If you stop texting, will you get a text back? And it also makes you realize again around the vibe, the energy pillar, and maybe the energy pillar is a little off. And so but you can make those relationships that are not necessarily in proximity work, but it needs to be a two-way relationship. And what's nice in your scenario and in my scenario with our girls that we met when we were in the city, that we were able to maintain that because to be honest, again, I don't know if we hit the jackpot, but a lot of them are very much living these principles of let them. So
I feel like you also attract the people you want around you.
That's a good point too.
It's just like a natural thing,
That's
right?
fair. Yeah. That's
So
a good point.
Tammy, what were your highlights from the book? What were your takeaways?
Yes, definitely the friendship.
Yeah.
Part was huge for me. Yes, the part where like about influencing. Oh my goodness. So this is hard for me because I'm not that I'm controlling. I'm not controlling.
Why are you looking at me?
But it is very that one was difficult. It was not easy for me just to, you know, let things go and let them like, you know, when she was saying, well, the example in the book is her friend with her husband and having him, you know, be healthy and get in better shape. And
she's really pushing her husband to change and exercise and get healthy.
And
he is not doing anything.
No.
Yeah.
And she also makes references to, you know, if there's stuff left all over the place and they're not picking up after themselves or they're not doing certain things. And I'm not saying that Chris does those things. I've been with him for 26 years almost. But what I am saying, it is very hard to all of a sudden change. Well, like you said, the examples of how you word things and just kind of having to let them be who they are.
The ABCs, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and asking open-ended questions.
Yeah.
And I'm just like every day, I'm like, I have
She's like,
to
girls,
say,
I am struggling here.
let them.
Yesterday, I found a sock on the floor. Can you believe? Not one, not two.
And I am a little bit, I'm not going to say I'm OCD because there is like a diagnosis for that. I'm not that, but I am very particular.
Clean. Yes.
And I am, you know, very particular. And I like things a certain way. And even with my kids, you know, like it's the same, you can use the same thing with your husband as with your kids.
Yes. I actually thought, I was like, I
Right?
can't wait to read this book because I think it's going to help me with my kids. And then the very first like page of the book is like, this is not for kids. And I was like,
Yes.
But
don't you feel like you can?
Yes,
because it's
I
the
agree.
same thing
Yes.
of, okay, and
I
how
see
do
what she's saying.
We
She's
can
like,
word this in a certain way to, so that I've had to really work on is just really letting those things go. Let him be who he is.
Yeah.
And let me.
Not get so worked up and worried about all of that.
Yeah.
Let me just focus on my happiness. And there are certain things like, you know, with the health and, you know, well, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should do this, but you have to word it in a certain way and let them figure it out on their own and let them do their own thing. And
Has anybody tried these on their husband yet?
I have tried.
So it's funny. I've tried through the therapy
Absolutely.
tools, but not
Yes.
through
These
the tools
ABC.
that
Yes.
Mel has given. But I am going to talk to Kurt about it, and I'm going to share with him what I've learned. And I'm going to sit down in a nice environment that she suggests, and I'm just going to say, this is what I've learned, and this is where I'm going to be accountable. And then I just need to be really accountable.
Yes.
Yes. Because like to your point, Tammy, it's hard.
Oh,
That's that one, to be
hard.
honest. All the other tools,
Yes.
and friendship, all of that, I feel like I'm like, yeah, nailed it. I can do all these things. That, as it relates to my relationship, that's the toughest one for me
Yes.
too.
It's
I relate to
very-
you on that, Tammy.
Because that's the thing. You can't change them.
No.
You can't change them. You can't force them to do anything.
have tried.
We've known this.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been with Chris forever. You've been with Kurt forever.
Yeah.
We know this of them. But there is so many different things that you're like, okay, I have to just
I know.
not say anything. You have to just let them be who they are. Let them figure it out. Let them.
Still love
And
them.
I will just
Still love that.
Let me.
let me walk away
Yeah.
and not say a word.
Yeah.
Not say a word.
Until he goes to bed, and I'll just pick it up myself.
But
Correct.
I'd like to know what sock is on the floor
Yeah.
specifically. Yeah, it's so true, Tammy.
The sock is a metaphor for
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. I love it. Now that's going to be our
The
inside
sock
joke
represents
now.
so many things.
So many
The
things.
sock
Yeah.
represents so many things.
So many.
Yes.
Life. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
dear.
Yeah. Well, that was great.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
very productive conversation. I feel like I chimed in throughout with my thoughts on the book, but
That was an influence, positive influence.
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we didn't
And
even
I
use the
do
ABCs for that
that.
one.
I do that. I celebrate
Celebrate.
when
There
things
you go.
are, you know,
You picked up the sock.
different
You
things.
picked up that sock and you did it so
I
well.
celebrate.
Yeah. He's just wearing open-toe shoes now. No socks.
okay.
But I do
That would be worse.
I do feel like you can use it towards kids because you remember her opening talking about why she wrote the book
I know.
was
Yes.
with her
daughter and
her daughter
son's
and her
prom.
son,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Going to the prom, didn't have a boutonniere for his
His date.
or
Yeah.
corsage, I should say,
Yeah.
for his date. And he's like, I don't really care, doesn't bother me, but she did, so she
Yeah.
got one. Which is so what we would do
I
as
know.
Yeah, I would-
parents. I
yeah.
have to say, we would do
Micromanage,
that. We would
yeah.
micromanage. And then he didn't have a reservation for the restaurant. And she's like, how are you all going to get in there?
Gonna be standing out in the rain,
It's
and then
raining.
they did, and they had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
But
wanted
that is so
It's
us.
true. I think that was
Our kids,
referencing
right?
like adult relationships and letting them. But yeah, I agree. There's definitely some moments, and I think it goes back to, control and your reaction to things. At least for me specifically, and trying just to let things roll a little bit and remember what's important at the end of the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So true.
Love.
Big
Love.
picture, big
Love.
picture.
Well,
Yes. Well, that was
you.
very
This is so
productive.
good.
I think we all agreed on a lot of things, and it was a great book.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
This
Thank
was
you.
fun. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like a wino. Yes.
Even though today we're drinking bubbly.
Yeah,
Yes,
no
we
yeah,
are.
today.
I drank all mine. So
Yes.
Yes.
Cheers.
It's very tasty.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah.